The Saab ended up with much bigger wheels than the Lancia. It was also made out of thicker steel, and it had a completely different rear axle. Now, sticking to principles like that is expensive, and Saab was losing money hand over fist on every car it made. Even advertising it as a jet fighter for the road didn't help.
Saab 9000.
So, in 1989, Saab was bailed out by General Motors.
To try and larch some fiscal sense into them, a team of executives from GM went over to Sweden and said, look, this is a Cavalier from our Vauxhall division. And to make your new car, what you do is change the body and the badges. That's it. Nice and cheap. Body and badges. Saab ignored them so completely that their new 900 shared only a third of its components with the Cavalier. When the time came to replace the 900 with the 93, the General Motors executives went over to Sweden again and said, OK, here is the Vauxhall Vectra. Now this time we mean it. Only change the body and the badges. Nothing else. Guess what? The Swedes went even more mental. They changed so much that even the wheelbase was different. At one point, a General Motors accountant went over to Sweden to see why Saab was costing them so much money. And he got into the new 93, turned on the sat-nav and thought, wait a minute, that's not one of our systems. And he was right, it wasn't. Saab had developed at vast expense their own system because they thought GM's wasn't good enough. Eventually, General Motors had had enough. And in 2010, as Saab was finishing the job of turning the Vauxhall Insignia into the completely different 9.5, the Detroit Giants pulled the plug.
The brand itself will have some residual value, but the company's facilities are likely to be broken up and sold.
At the last minute, a buyer was found, a Dutchman who owned a small car company called Spyker. To get the money rolling in, he needed to get the new 9.5 into the showrooms as quickly as possible.